In 2023, I made this video capturing my initial reaction to ChatGPT and brainstorming ways that I can apply it to be used in the operations of my childcare business. Well, it's been about 18 months since I made that video, and I have absolutely, as I stated in that video, I've been using it as my little sidekick. I saw someone on TikTok recently refer to ChatGPT as like their intern or office assistant. And I get it. Like I have been using it for as much as I possibly can that will get me quick answers to things and also save me time. And as a childcare business owner that operates 4 childcare centers, locations with hundreds of spots to fill and nearly 50 employees, I'm always going to be looking for ways that I can get things done while also saving time and applying that saved time to something that is more important. So I want to share all the different ways throughout the last year and a half that I have used ChatGPT successfully and have saved me time and got me quick answers. So I figured that I would show you literally some of those cases and instances in which I did just that. So let's get into it. So ChatGPT does save your interactions with it. It automatically just keeps adding on to the chats that you start. I like to think of it as like a message thread. So this screen that we're looking at right now is the initial message thread beginning that you will see once you sign in for the first time and attempt to start a chat. But you can see all the previous chats, all your history of chats here on the sideline. And it will organize it for you by month, or it starts off with like yesterday and then the previous 7 days and then previous 30 days and then the different months of the year. So literally yesterday, most recently, I decided that I wanted to design a gallery wall for this office that I'm in. I just moved to a new apartment, so I have my office that I'm still currently working on designing, and I realized I don't know how to make a gallery wall, but I want one. I looked on TikTok, I looked on Instagram, I even Googled some inspo, and for whatever reason, gallery walls are just challenging. There might be very little of you who are interested in actually making a gallery wall inside your childcare center. I'm just giving an example of literally what I used it for yesterday. Because ChatGPT is not only a business tool or a professional tool that you must use for work. I use this for personal things as well. So you have to start off with giving it a prompt. I'm a multi-site childcare business owner and consultant. I make YouTube videos and podcasts about my experience in the industry. I'm trying to design my office space to be functional for work and also design it well enough to be a nice setting for videos. I want to create a gallery wall behind my chair I will sit in when filming videos. What type of decor should I put on my gallery wall considering my niche? So it gave me different ideas of things to consider given the prompt that I gave it, that my industry is childcare and this is what I do, this is why I want the gallery wall, and I'll be filming. So then I said, can you show me a mock-up example photo? And it did. It gave me a cute example. This is not a picture of my actual office space. This is an AI generated image. It's artificial intelligence, meaning that the computer, the ChatGPT, generated this image on its own. It's fake, or it's pulling from ideas of the concept and creating its own computer artwork based on that. So it did this very quick. And then it said, here's a mock-up example. And then I said the chair is actually more like a one-seater couch armchair. It's gray with gold legs and will be diagonally placed. And I asked it to give me a different example, and it did. I don't want to get too hung up on this one instance because it is not that relevant to what you're going to do on your day-to-day operations. But that's an example. If you are designing or redecorating a classroom or I just wanted to, I just want to show you the capabilities of this tool. Next, I was having a conversation with my program's virtual assistant. I was explaining to her that a new responsibility that I want her to have is sending out reminders to our current families about things that are going on in the program. So we have a calendar full of events and special celebrations and holidays, and on our website, all of it is outlined. However, a lot of the families do not remember on their own to go click into the calendar page of our website and make sure that they know something is coming up. But it is very important for them to know something is coming up so they can stay active and involved and engaged in their child's learning and the experiences. So we have to remind them of these things that are coming up. And in order to do that, we send out email blasts, newsletter blasts through email, and also text messages. And usually that responsibility, I have taken it on myself, like to be the one that sends mass reminders of things to all of our locations. But lately that has gotten harder and harder to remember to do with all the other responsibilities that I have going on. But now I would like to pass that responsibility on, delegate it to somebody else, and our virtual assistant isn't in the perfect position to be able to do that. So I told her about ChatGPT and I gave her a example. I showed her how to do the newsletter for the month of November, how she can use ChatGPT to do this. So I went through this chat. I showed her like, okay, you have to give it a prompt. I'm a virtual assistant for a childcare business called Academic Explorers. That's my program name. And then the chat GPT responded, great, how can I assist you? And then I said, I need to send a monthly newsletter to families with children enrolled in our program about the special events, closures, holidays, blah, blah, blah. And it said, absolutely, feel free to list the events, closures, holidays, and any details you'd like to include. So that's what I did. I opened the calendar page on our website. I listed out all the different holidays, acknowledgement, celebrations, closures for the month of November. And I just put it in ChatGPT and it responded, here's your draft. And it gave me these different breakdowns of you can see in the video. I don't want to waste time reading through all of it. It generated it within seconds. And my virtual assistant was blown away by it. And I'm like, yeah. And of course, you're not going to just immediately copy and paste all of that and just send it out without even knowing that what it says is actually in alignment with what you're going to do. So you have to like it says, let me know if there's anything you'd like to adjust. So I explained I like the draft, but there's a few corrections. In the first draft, it said that they can bring donations for the food drive to the front desk. That's not true. The donations need to be dropped off at arrival time and given to the center administrator. And I also wanted ChatGPT to include information about where the donations are going. I also wanted it to include the link to RSVP for our Thanksgiving lunch. And again, a couple seconds later, it just rewrote everything. So I know I mentioned newsletters already in the last video that I filmed last year, but I wanted to reiterate how useful it is when you're trying to communicate to parents, both those coming in, like if you're sending a email marketing campaign out, or in this case, when you're sending reminders to current families. It's just useful all around. Another really important thing that I used ChatGPT for recently was to help me with addressing concerns regarding an issue that our whole county is currently experiencing. We are going through delayed payments as a county from our childcare assistance program, which is very inconvenient and annoying and difficult. And throughout the last few weeks, I have been escalating and escalating and escalating these concerns and my communications about how difficult it has been to operate to different people that higher up than the normal regular workers that I would speak to within our local assistance office. And because I was trying to get actual replies and responses, and even though I'm frustrated and upset about it, be professional about it. I figured, let me just run what I'm going to say through ChatGPT and see if it's good. So I'll spare you all the unnecessary details of everything. But the conclusion, ChatGPT recommended that I send an email to a position. So that's what I did. I simply just put, is this email good? I copied and pasted what I was going to send as an email, and I put it into ChatGPT, and its response was, your email is heartfelt and polite, but there are a few areas that could be more clear and focused. Below is a revised version that maintains the same respectful tone, but streamlines your message. Come on. So then it generated that more appropriate response for me. And on top of that, if you scroll down further, it also explains why this version works better. And I definitely took it into consideration. There's still some emotion that I needed to put in there, like to leave in there, I should say. But I definitely rewrote the email to according to ChatGPT's recommendations for the most part. But the great part about being a human and not a AI robot is that you have emotion, and sometimes it's important to express it. I then went on to keep the same thread, because the whole conversation, honestly, in this message thread went on for weeks. Like, this was not only about the email that I wanted to send to find out if it was appropriate. I was going back and forth with, how should I address it? Who should I talk to? It gave me the different positions within the county that are responsible for different things, and escalating whatever. It really helped me to break down who to go to about what. One of my employees had told me that the county was in the news for payment issues, and I spent some time on Google trying to find the news article or video they were talking about. Couldn't find it. So I just asked ChatGPT, has the county been in the news lately for childcare payment issues? And it said yes. It explained what the issues are, and then it gave me the links directly to the sources that it's pulling the information from. So that has been very interesting. Other things you can use ChatGPT for in childcare are math problems, Excel or Google Sheets, spreadsheets, issues or questions. I don't know about you, but I am no mathematician. I am not an expert in Google Sheets or how to use these equations in Excel. So oftentimes that I am creating a tracker of sorts or a spreadsheet, and I want to do something and save time while doing it, I do understand that there are shortcuts and equations and things that you can utilize within Sheets. I prefer using Google products, like the Google apps. So I use like Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Slides instead of PowerPoint, Google Sheets instead of Excel, Docs instead of Microsoft Word. So one prompt that I did was, is there a Google Sheets formula to make a specific row automatically calculate a section of columns? So I was creating a spreadsheet that outlined all of the year-to-date payroll expenses for every single payday for the whole year. And I wanted to automatically have that a section of it add up the dollar amounts for each employee. So ChatGPT definitely took me through a range of instructions that I could follow to get the answer to my question. And then I more specifically let it know that I was using an Apple computer. I was using my MacBook. I said, is there a MacBook keyboard shortcut for sum to get the total dollar amount? And it gave me that sum. And then because I was working on payroll, I just wanted to keep the thread the same. And I specifically wanted to confirm that if an employee lives in New York City but works in Nassau County, should I select that they are subject to both county taxes within QuickBooks when setting up payroll? We recently transitioned our payroll services to QuickBooks Online Payroll. And with that means that I'm the one that's, for now, I'm the one that's putting in the employee information. And I just wanted to make sure that I got it correct. And I believe I was having this conversation outside of like normal business hours, so I could not get a quick answer from our CPA. But in the meantime, while I was taking the time to set up the employee accounts, I wanted to know, like, am I right about this? So it went through and gave me the information that I was looking for, and I was later able to confirm that yes, it is accurate with my accountant. So having your questions that are not easily Googleable, but if you ever Google something, get your answer, and then you're like, okay, well, then what? Or like, you can have a conversation, I guess, is what I'm trying to emphasize, that it's a back and forth. ChatGPT allows you to have a back and forth and get very specific answers to your very specific questions that are not so easily that are not easily Googleable. Going back to yesterday's wall decor chat, I was setting up my office after getting the inspiration about my gallery wall from ChatGPT. I was finishing the setup of this office space and trying to I have multiple different cameras and microphones and equipment that I am not an expert on just yet, and I wanted to figure out like how certain things work to figure out which camera I can start filming with again to have the best quality that I'm looking for. And some of these devices are very hard to, not some, all of these professional cameras and mics and the stands, all of it is tucked behind me so you can't see, but it's hard to figure out. So I wanted to specifically give ChatGPT the name of the camera that I'm using, which I did. I said, I use a Sony ZV-E10. How can I get the best quality footage for my video settings? My videos will only be filmed from one angle of me sitting down indoors in my office space. What are the best settings on the camera? Now, if you've ever tried to use a digital camera that like a professional photographer's camera, there are a lot of different settings that you have to play with if you're trying to change something. And I am always fearful that I'm going to mess something up, and I usually tend not to mess with it. But ChatGPT has given me the confidence that I can do anything. I can figure it out. So I did that. I specifically got the answer that I was looking for with the different settings. And then I realized like, oh, I don't know where on it's telling me what I need to change, but how can I actually change it? Like where is it in the camera settings? Just as an example, I realized like based on the answer it gave me, I needed to change something called the resolution and the frame rate. Do I know what that means? No. But is it going to give me the result that I'm looking for? Probably. Let's try it. but I don't know, I didn't know where on, like in the camera settings, what buttons to push, which options to select. So I just asked simply, how do I change the resolution or frame rate? Because it told me to change it, but I don't know literally under what tab is it. So it gave me the instructions to follow. Go to the camera menu, press the menu button, navigate to movie settings, select the file format, and then it gave me, this further instructions, so on and so forth. And I did that. I just continued going back and forth asking about the different settings and how to change them. How does that apply to childcare? Well, what pieces of technology are you using? Are you using technology, smart boards, laptops, different computers, different types of phone systems? Like if you have a landline phone system, for example, and like for the longest time, I couldn't figure out how to create a voicemail greeting on a landline phone. This was a couple of years ago. On that, not all in, I know how to make a voicemail greeting. I didn't know how to do it on that specific phone, like the settings to open up the option to leave a voicemail greeting, a custom voicemail greeting. If I had ChatGPT at that time, I would have taken the brand name, the name of the phone, like there's usually a brand name on all pieces of technology, different devices that you have. I would have taken the brand name of the phone, typed it in and said, I want to create a voicemail greeting so people can leave me messages. How do I do that in this phone settings? How do I get to the phone settings to do that? And it would have given me the answer. More than likely, I'm 99% confident it would have been able to pull up the answer to that question very simply. And if you're in a situation like that where maybe something is frozen, you don't know how to reset your computer in your office, you can follow instructions to troubleshoot things in your programs. I think that is a very valuable tool to have at our fingertips. Getting answers to questions quickly. And if you get stuck somewhere and you're not quite sure, well, you can just say, well, I don't see it, or these are the options I see. Which one should I select? Like you're literally having a conversation. Yes, with a robot, but with a robot that can give you answers to your questions. I believe that it is a great tool to have, and we should just accept the fact that technology is here and it's here to help, specifically AI models like this. Even when I go to my website editor now, there is a AI option. It's not ChatGPT, but there's other things like ChatGPT out there. For instance, Google has something called Gemini. When it first launched, it was called Bard, and I may have referenced it either in the last video I made about ChatGPT or an email newsletter. But anyway, Google has a version of its own AI chatbot, and it's called Gemini. And if you have a Google account, a Gmail account, you can easily access it instead of creating a whole new account on ChatGPT. I personally prefer ChatGPT, but I don't see many flaws in Google Gemini either. I use both sometimes depending on what it is. But there are also chat AI bots in other platforms that you may use. For example, I use Wix to host my website, to make edits on my website, and I also use their back-end system for everything, for a lot of things in my business. And now I notice when you go to edit text on your Wix website, it gives you an option to create AI text. I've never used this AI text generator. If I do want to use AI to help me with creating blurbs or paragraphs on my website, I will likely just use ChatGPT, and I have. But I'll try it for the heck of it. I'll just put what I have right now in there. And so when I click on the AI text creator, it said, let AI create custom text for you. To start, describe the text you want or choose from the suggestions below. I just copied and pasted what I already had there, and it rewrote it in a way that I guess Wix believes would be more efficient or maybe help with search engine optimization. I don't know. I think it's a useful tool to use when you know the message that you're trying to convey, but not necessarily the best way to convey it. I definitely don't want to take a deep dive into website design right now, although that is my biggest interest at the moment. I have been loving helping my clients with creating their websites. If you do not have a childcare business website or you know you need a better one, I would definitely encourage you to join Childcare Remote Control. It is my 4-week long self-paced coaching program that can help you through the process of designing your website and showing you how you can take control of all the back end systems, and helps you to understand the importance of marketing and branding online, establishing your business online, and driving more enrollment into your childcare business by having a strong online presence and automations set up to help you with different transactions and communications to families. In Childcare Remote Control, there are 16 video lessons that you'll go through that will literally take you behind the scenes on Wix and show you step by step how to get your website set up. So if you're interested in that, go to childcaresites.com or click the link in the description for more information. An AI chatbot is also something that is making its way directly into childcare businesses now with the development of Clay by Kangaroo Time. Clay has its own chat box type of thing that can help teachers with lesson planning, and also program administrators with how to have certain professional conversations or policies. This video is not sponsored by Clay by Kangaroo Time, and it's definitely not sponsored by ChatGPT, but I did just host a webinar with Kangaroo Time a few weeks ago. If you would be interested in watching a replay of that webinar, leave a comment below, because I'll be happy to share it here on my YouTube channel. But Clay is specifically designed for the childcare industry and early childhood education programs. So the responses and answers that it gives whenever you give it a prompt or ask it a question will be appropriate, whether that be developmentally appropriate for children of the specified ages that you give it, or it will be industry specific. So it's not going to give inappropriate instructions in a way. Like if it's, they give a really good example of how and when and why you might want to use Clay instead of something like ChatGPT for certain instances as it relates to your childcare business and maybe the way that you respond to something. I'll actually insert a clip of that here.
Typically after drop off, the child bites other students.
Okay. And how do you currently respond when the biting happens? What have you already tried?
Timeout.
Timeout. All right.
I'm making these up. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And have you noticed any patterns or triggers that might be causing the biting? Go ahead.
Before the child's eaten.
Okay. All right. You can always choose to skip and get an answer as well. So not every time you need to fill those out. But here, what you're seeing is it bears repeating, a step-by-step guide. Again, it's a pattern throughout the entire experience within Clay. Step-by-step guides that educators and teachers can take for any particular situation, whether it's the weekly lesson plan and activities and experiences or on the coaching side of things. So now what you see here is a little bit of an intro, and then step-by-steps on what to do to help the child, along with some alternative or additional strategies if and when those don't entirely work. These actually scripted out for you. These are research-backed insights as well. So we tag where we're pulling the information from. And then there's just a little summary paragraph for you there as well.
AI tools and chat boxes have been really helpful for me over the last year and a half that I have been using them to help me in my business operations. I hope that this video helped you and gave you ideas, and after trying them out, maybe a sense of relief that you can have help and guidance for a lot of the day-to-day tasks or questions or things that you might need help with. I hope that you are able to find that help using ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Clay by Kangaroo Time. There's so many resources out there to help you. You just have to know where to find them and know how to use them. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it would help me out if you gave it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.